and welcome to the Habits and Home Show. I'm your host, Lisa Lazat, and I help busy moms bring order to their homes by downsizing and decluttering and ditching old habits in exchange for systems that bring peace and more enjoyment to their lives. If you're a mom trying to show the love of Jesus to your family, but the clutter in your home keeps you overwhelmed and frustrated, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, you will hear easy, step-by-step tips to declutter and create systems so you can keep your home organized and finally walk in the peace God has promised you. Need some accountability? I've got you covered there too. Join the Accountability Club, a community of like-minded mamas decluttering and systemizing our homes together. Are you ready, friend? Let's get started. Hey friends, and welcome to the show. I am happy to be back podcasting. Last week, I had to take off a week because we had a hurricane come through here in Florida, and we were without power for several days. Thankfully, in our area and where our home is, we did not experience any damage, but there is a lot of damage to people in our surrounding counties, as well as in our own county, in our own town. So my heart and prayers go out to them. But thankfully, we did not experience a lot of damage, only a power outage. We did have to buy a generator that ended up not working. Spent $800 on that. My husband brought it home, and I said, how much was that? And y'all, just to give you a little backstory, I'm usually the cheapskate and he's the more expensive. Like if it's cheap, then it's probably cheaply made. So he brings home a generator and I'm like, how much did you pay for that? And he said $800. And I was like, how good is that? Because I'm thinking in my head, good generators are thousands of dollars. And sure enough, all we needed to power was our freezer and our refrigerator, so we didn't lose the food that we had stored. And we had just bought half a cow. We bought a new freezer, a stand-up freezer, and so we didn't want to lose all of that. And sure enough, that generator did not work, and so we had to borrow my in-laws. Thankfully, they didn't need their generator because right down the road they had power, but in our area we didn't. And so we also had to buy a dehumidifier because we live in a it's 2024. We live in a 74-year-old farmhouse with original single pane windows, and there was just no way of going outside, working in the yard, getting wet and bringing in wet clothes, and we couldn't wash clothes. And so there was a lot of moisture and humidity in our house. And so my husband had to run out, get a dehumidifier. And thankfully, my in-laws had power right down the road, so we were able to stay with them. Power came back on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and I said, nope, I'm not going home yet. I'm already settled here, living in the lap of luxury with my in-laws. Truly, they are in loves. They truly are, and they're so wonderful. My father-in-law, he's been very instrumental in just exemplifying really good habits and routines where habits become automatic. He's great at that. And they're cooking for us, cleaning, taking care of us. And I'm like, why would I want to go home now? I'm sorry. No, we can let the air conditioner run all night. We can run the dehumidifier, and then I will slowly go back the next day and reset the house and clean up. And that was the best thing I could ever do. So anyway, I'm happy to be back to podcasting. And if you were with me over the summer, I hope you enjoyed the summer series in which I interviewed past clients or current clients and current students, maybe past students that are in the Accountability Club. And I just loved hearing their story. And I hope that you loved hearing from real people. Y'all, I'm a real person. You know, we live in this information age and the internet age where we kind of have that barrier of putting people on a pedestal. I am not on any kind of pedestal, y'all. I literally just cleaned up. We baked some fish last night and I overcooked it. And I had to let the fish sit in the sink all night in water to be able to scrape it off. Y'all, we're doing real life over here, so do not put me on any pedestal. Speaking of real life, I did have the opportunity to do an interview on Lisa Boss's podcast, which is called The Simple Farmhouse Life. So if you haven't listened to that podcast episode, I'll put it in the show notes, and so you can have a listen. It was a really great interview. And in that interview, we did talk about real life and how I don't want a perfect Pinterest home. That's why I stopped looking at Pinterest. That's why I stopped looking at Instagram. That is just for marketing, y'all. That is for follows, for likes, for clicks. It's not real life. And I know that there are some things that sometimes people are transparent and they do share their real life. But at the same time, they're sharing it in a way so that you can follow them back, and that is their niche and their platform. And there's just a lot of stress that goes into just being transparent like that with your life. I did it for a little while. I was really thinking about sharing my story of how I started out doing this online business, just getting into online business, and how I used social media and how it affected my mental health. So be looking in the future for that episode. I've been praying about it for several years now, whether I wanted to share it here on the podcast, but I think just sharing my story, being a little vulnerable, maybe it'll help somebody, right? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that summer series. We are kicking off a new series. It will probably not be as long as the summer series, but I'm really excited about this one. So we're going to do, because fall is coming up, I love the idea of fall favorites, right? But we're going to do it in a way of systems. I am going to be sharing with you my favorite systems that I have walked my own self through getting clarity over. And with these systems, I have turned them into workbooks, and those workbooks have led to me creating videos for you so that you can work through these workbooks, getting clarity over these systems in your own home. While watching the video, it's kind of like me being right there holding your hand. A lot of y'all, when you schedule consultation with me, you're looking for someone to hold your hand. And that's what I love doing, what I do. I love working with people. I know I've shared it several times before that I was a teacher. I love teaching. It's something that I do. We've also been in ministry in the past where we served youth, and I just love people and I love helping people. So I hope you can feel that passion. I am a real person, okay? So y'all reach out to me because you do need some hand holding. And yes, therapy is great. I am not a therapist. I am a very practical hands-on coach. So I always say it's very much similar to if you go to the gym and you work out on your own, okay, it's a little difficult, right? Because you're not motivated. But if you have a personal trainer there, you are going to show up. You're going to give it your all. You're not going to be able to slack off because someone is watching you. Just consider me your personal trainer in your home. So if you need some hand holding, I do offer one-on-one coaching. The Accountability Club is great as well if you don't mind group settings and sharing your coaching hour. And then also if you want some hand holding as far as like you just want a workbook and get started there and watch me talk to you, give you some inspiration in very short clips. I am not about making things long, y'all. You know, I'm not formally diagnosed ADHD, but I sure do wish the sermons at our church were like 15 to 20 minutes long because I'm like zoned out. I'm ready to go to sleep. It's just not working for me. Even podcasts where I see the timeline and it's like an hour long and I'm like, oh gosh, that's like 3 days of driving back and forth to my kids' school. I can't focus on that. So I try to keep my episodes short as well as my training videos. Okay, so that was a really long introduction. We're going to dive right into my first favorite home management system, which I'm assuming that a lot of y'all like as well because this is my most purchased one in the shop. And speaking of the shop, y'all, I just did a brand new creation of the shop. And so click the link below to look at it. I'm just really proud of it. I just like things to be pretty. And I've just poured my heart into it. So go check out the shop. And so this is my my favorite, and I'm assuming one of y'all's favorites, system inside the shop. If you have already purchased it, I have revamped it, so you will get access to it very shortly as soon as I figure out all the tech to do that. So if you have downloaded the workbook in the past or purchased the workbook, you're going to get this revised version of it, and you always get the updates. So keep in mind, when you buy something from the shop, you have it forever, and if there's any revisions, you have those revisions into the future. And y'all, I like to price my things very affordable because I was there. I was there where I couldn't, I'm still there. What am I talking about? Like, if I see something that's like, I don't know, $50 or less, I'm like, that's doable. And it's also just like minimal investment. So I'm kind of like testing the waters. Like how much am I going to commit to this, right? So, all right. So without further ado, the first system that we are going to cover in my fall favorites, or just in my favorites of systems, home management systems, is the meal planning system. And I am going to give you all of my steps right here on the podcast. Now, why would I do that? Because I know that you probably need something visual. You need probably to see me speak life into you through the videos. So yeah, I'm going to give you the kind of like the outline here. And if you're the type of person who can just take that outline and run with it, go for it, sister, okay? But if you need a little bit more hand-holding, grab this guide, grab this tutorial, and I'll hold your hand through all of it, right? Okay, so I have this broken down into 4 steps with a bonus video of bonus training. All right, so step number 1, if you haven't already, grab a 3-ring binder and create a home management binder. If you're on this path with me and on this journey with me for the long haul, I want you to commit to getting a new system, maybe like, I don't know, just depends on how fast you can apply things and establish them as habits in your home. I mean, take on a new system every 2 months, maybe every 3 months, and you're going to need a place to keep all of those systems and all of those workbooks so that you stay organized, right? I've coached with some of y'all and you have my systems printed, but they're kind of like all over the place. And what I end up telling you, just throw that away. You're not ready for that. You can re-download it later. Okay, so step number 1 is simply to grab a 3-ring binder and create a home management binder, okay? So because when you print off this workbook, it's going to give you tons of meal ideas. It's going to give you tons of places where you can fill in your own meal ideas, and you're going to want to pull this workbook or this binder out each week when you sit down to do your meal planning. So you need to have a designated place where these meal ideas are going to live, right? So grab a home management binder and print off the checklist or print off the workbook. Step number 2, once you have your binder and you've printed off the workbook, you're going to create a meals master list. Now, I first got started creating a meals master list simply by having a note in my iPhone. I just wrote down all the meals that I could think of off the top of my head. I thought of themes. I thought of things my family enjoys. I thought of things that are easy to make. And so that's where this really started. It's just me simply making a master list of meals for me to pull from when I do my weekly planning. All right. So I give you, gosh, I can't even remember. So the workbook total is 26 pages. Now, don't think, oh my gosh, I got to fill out 26 pages. No, sister. I just give you a lot of ideas and a lot of pages, like themed pages to go off of, so that it's helping you jog your mind of what type of food I really want to feed my family. So you don't have to fill out all of these. They're just simply there for you to have just in case, okay? So create a master list of your meals that your family will actually eat, all right? If you are overwhelmed in life, stop doing the whole Pinterest, finding new recipes all the time, okay? We need to get really good at meals being boring and repetitive. We need to get really good at that and then throw in a fun new recipe every once in a while, okay? That makes it fun, right? But We don't need to be like bouncing all over the walls. We need to have a focus. Okay, step number 3. So step number 1, get your home management binder in order. Step number 2, create a meals master list. Step number 3 is, now that you have brainstormed meal ideas on your meals master list, I want you to now create a 4-week rotation from that meals master list. And I typically encourage people, and this is what I do, is for each of those 4 weeks, I base those meals off of 3 different meats. Okay, now if you're vegetarian, then you might have a protein as your base. Okay, cater this to fit your own family's needs. So say week number 1, I'm going to do chicken, beef, and fish. So all of the meals in that week are going to have, not all of them, but they're going to have those meats somewhere incorporated throughout the week. That way I'm not just like winging it and buying a whole bunch of meat and then wasting meat. And I'm also not, I'm kind of just focused on just feeding my family, right? So I might like switch it out, or I could cook all the chicken all at once. I could cook all the ground beef all at once. So you're really just cutting corners, figuring out ways that you can cut corners in your cooking. So for instance, tonight we did baked chicken. I bought a whole container or a whole slab, whatever you call it, a package of chicken breast, and I filleted the chicken, put it in the oven, put some ranch seasoning on it, and baked the chicken. Well, then I had 2 chicken breasts left over. I looked at my meal plan and it said chicken and rice tomorrow night, and so I was like, oh great, I'll go ahead while I'm baking the chicken, I'll go ahead and boil the chicken for tomorrow's chicken and rice. I'm gonna let the pot cool down. I'm literally gonna take the pot, put it into the refrigerator, pull it out tomorrow, add some chicken broth to the rice, and call it a day, right? So think about how you can pair up your meals for each and every week so that you are just cooking in less time, cooking smarter, not harder, right? Okay, so step number 3 was to create a 4-week rotation from your meals master list, and I provide that page in the workbook as well. All right, step number 4, which is bringing it all together and actually putting this system into practice, is to practice writing your weekly meal plan during your weekend reset ritual. If you don't have a weekend reset ritual, highly recommend that you do that. And I always tell you, pick 3 bare minimum tasks that will set you up for the week to come. So for me, my meal planner, or planning my meals, is a part of my weekend reset because it's supporting me in the week to come. And it just means that my week is going to be so much smoother and so much better. Okay. So practice writing your weekly meal plan. In the workbook, I do provide a meal planner where you can make multiple copies of it, but I also provide for you an Amazon link for you to buy the one that I use as well, because it is just a tear pad and it's easy and I don't have to worry about printing anything off when I run out. Okay, and then the last thing, which is the bonus, I give you, I think it's probably like less than 2 minutes. Now, by no means do I plan my meals on the weekend in less than 2 minutes, but I actually show you just little snippets of what it looks like in my own kitchen, because I'm a visual person. If I can see somebody like actually apply this to their life, I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. I can do that. And I can, emulate and copy what they're doing. I can act that out, right? So I provide you a bonus video where I show you exactly what it looks like when I meal plan on my weekend reset. Okay, so the entire system, if you decide that you want to get it, there's 26 workbook pages, 4 short tutorial videos where I walk you through the entire process, and hopefully you're filling this workbook out while you're listening to me. This is supposed to be a very interactive little course here, okay? So I hope this helps you in some way too, and it is the beginning of the school year, and I know that you are getting busy. I just sat down a little bit ago putting new events on our family calendar. My kids are, oh my goodness, it's gonna be crazy. And I just need meals and meal planning not to be crazy, right? So I hope that you will somehow support yourself in this new school year by getting your meal planning systemized, okay? So if you're interested in this little mini course and the workbook, you can click the link below to grab the helpful guide, or you can type in your browser habitsandhome.shop. All right, friends, I will see you right here next time on the Habits and Home Show. Hey, friend, before you go, I wanted to tell you more about the Accountability Club. Each month, we'll tackle a new space in our homes and work together to declutter and set up systems so we can easily maintain order without getting overwhelmed. You'll get a new decluttering tutorial each month, the coaching and accountability you need to actually follow through, and encouragement without judgment from other Christian moms in a safe environment. And guess what? The entire club is off of social media, so you don't have to worry about distractions the world may throw at you. Sweet friend, if you're feeling stuck in your decluttering journey, this is the place for you. Click the link below to try out the Accountability Club and start decluttering today.